back again, and I have a special guest joining us today. So today I have Montiana Foster that is joining us, and she is here today to share her story of childhood abuse and where she is now and how she was able to deal with all of that. So hi, how are you today? Welcome to the platform.
Hey, I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
That's
All
good.
right. 1 second, let me let my moderator in here. Okay. All right. So, Monty, tell us a little bit about, where you grew up at,
Mm-hmm.
tell us how old you are first. Let's start with that.
I'm 22 years old.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. And tell us where you from and where you grew up at.
I'm from a small, about 50 miles from the city. It's called Bloodtown. This one.
You're going in and out.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
But what I was saying is I'm from Bloodtown, Florida.
Okay. And is that where you mostly grew up, was Florida?
Yeah, I've been in Florida all my life, basically for the most part.
Okay. All right. And so I know that you lived with your grandma sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a choice, or was there a reason why you lived with grandma?
I think my mom was just kind of like in a position where she couldn't really take care of me right then, so I ended up staying with my grandma for like the first 10 years of my life, before I went and stayed with my mom in around 2011, 2012.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. All right. And so you're living with your grandma. How long did you live with your grandma?
For about 10 or 11 years.
Oh, okay. So you lived with her for quite a while.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so then after some time, then mom wanted you to move back with her. And how was that for you? Did you want to move back? Because I mean, living with grandma for a long time, especially if she's one of those cool grandmas. You know how some grandmas can be cool.
Yeah, it was a real tough transition. It really was.
Okay.
Since my mom, she had just been raising boys, like my brothers, and I'm a girl, so it's like kind of a different.
And you were the only girl. And are
Mm,
you the oldest?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm the
Yeah.
only girl and the oldest, and have two brothers too. So
Okay.
I know how that goes.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So you go back to live with mom, and then you move to a different state, right?
No, it was down south, maybe about like 3 or 4 hours down south.
From Florida.
Well, no, we were still in Florida.
Oh, okay. Just another city,
Yeah.
or okay. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. All right. And so you moved to another city, and at that time, was mom married, or
Yeah, she was.
okay?
Yeah, they
So
had been married for a while at this point.
okay. All right. And so then you moved to another city, and tell us a little bit, about that. How did that go? How was your transition?
The transition, it was really hard, especially since I had been with my grandma for all that time. It was just really just something all of a sudden, and I didn't really have time to adjust properly.
Okay. All right. So when did you finally, start adjusting?
I never really did. Like it was hard basically like the whole time. Like
Okay. All right. And so now before though you moved to this other city, you were living with grandma,
hmm
and something took place with a family member at the age of 5, and you were with grandma then too, right?
yes.
Okay. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm not really sure how old this family member is. They're not older than me because we were like kind of playing together. So I'm gonna say this time I was around 5, and they were maybe like 10 or 11. Maybe they were still like pretty young. So one day like the family member had got on top of me, and I'm sorry,
That's okay.
and just like started doing inappropriate things, basically.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. And so then you told your grandma or a family member
and
and
actually, no, that I never told anybody about.
okay. All
Yeah,
right.
and so like kind of
Okay.
uh,
And so nothing ever happened with that, but it only happened that one time. It never happened.
yeah.
Okay. And so then you wouldn't experience this anymore until the age of 8, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so then at the age of 8, um, you want to, kind of tell us a little bit about what transpired at the age of 8?
Well, my mom's husband. Well, I was sitting in the living room watching TV, and he had came to me, and he, if I wanted to come like lay down, and I had said no, but then he was like, okay, come on, and I was scared, so like I went on. So he just like was like holding me in the bed, like, kind of like spooning me, and
Mm-hmm.
that was all. And like he was like rubbing on me, and but that's all that like came out of that when I was 8 years old. And I didn't tell her that until like I was 10. That's when me writing the letter and all that.
Your sound is going in and out. I don't know.
Um, I'm not really sure. Got my Wi-Fi on. It's showing full. Can
Okay. Are you on your phone?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay. Well, just kind of like speak closer and maybe just a little bit louder than that. Maybe
Okay.
you won't go in and out.
Oh, and also before we do go on, I'm not like on here to bash anybody or anything. I don't want anybody, speaking negatively about anybody because that's not that kind of energy we're trying to bring. Right now. I'm
We
just,
understand.
I'm just trying here to just tell y'all my story and just hopefully this can help somebody.
Bring awareness.
Yeah, bring awareness, and I don't want any negative coming out of this. I just want nothing but good. You know, I have
Right.
I have no hate in my heart for anybody or anything like that. I have no negative feelings for anybody. You know, just the acts that happened, they were bad, but the person basically, just love everybody, no matter what. Even the worst people, just love them because it doesn't feel good, feeling bitterness and just all the negative feelings. It just I can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Okay. So, if you want to continue on,
Okay. What was the last thing we had said?
um, you left off on you hadn't told your mom at that time.
Yeah.
Um, w- uh, why hadn't you told your mom?
I was just scared.
Okay. He so did he ever threaten you or anything or make you feel like you know things would happen if you did tell your mom?
Mm. That with that incident, not that I can think of or remember right now.
Okay. Okay. And so that was the first incident that took place at 8 years old.
Hmm.
And then when would the next incident take place?
Um, I was 10 years old. I had just got out of school, and I was sitting in the room, and there was a knock at my door, and it was him. He had came and sat down on my bed. And he had asked me to give him a kiss, but I was like, no. And he was like, come on, just like a mother kiss. Like, no. So that was the incident that when I was,
Okay.
yeah. And
So he kind of started out kind of like testing the waters,
hmm
so to say, grooming a little, would you
yeah.
say?
hmm
Okay. Okay. All right. And now had you told your mom about that incident?
Yeah, I actually told her about the 8-year-old incident and the 10-year-old incident that day that the 10-year-old incident. Um, so what I had did, I had wrote a letter, and I wrote that. And I don't think anything ever happened after I had. I feel like they maybe fussed or something like that, but nothing really happened after that. Or actually, no, that is when he was out of the house for 2 weeks because I remember during this time we were transitioning. We were actually okay. We were here in the small, and then we moved to like maybe like 30 miles away, like a city.
Mm-hmm.
So we were kind of like transitioning, moving around that time, but not long after that, he was out of the house for 2 weeks, and he ended up coming back. I'm trying not to jump around, y'all. I don't know if I'm making sense right now, but
Um, so you told your mom, you wrote a letter.
mhm,
They kind of feuded. He left the house for 2 weeks, but then he comes back.
mhm.
Okay, and then so how did you feel? And did you talk to your mother, or did your mother say anything to you about, did you guys ever talk about the situation?
We probably talked about it one time as far as like asking me what happened, and then like after that, it was just kind of like, like you better not be lying type of situation.
Okay. And so no charges or anything was not nothing was reported.
No.
Okay. And so after you tell your mom he leaves for 2 weeks, come back, does it ever happen again? Or I mean, because now he knows that your mom knows. So
Um, no, nothing happened until we ended up moving down south, farther away from family.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then you moved down south. What age were you when you moved down south?
Probably like maybe 12. I think I was like 11 or 12.
Okay. And so you're living down south, and then does he try something else then when you guys move?
Yeah, I don't think it was until he did, but you could kind of like feel the weird energy. Um,
Okay.
there were some things that he did do before he had, actually tried me again like that.
So like when you say some things he did do, like uh trying to touch you, or
Um, well, first it was just basically just kind of making life a little hard. Um, he'd just be like so mean for sometimes, and also, where he had just like whoop us for like whatever.
mm-hmm. So were you kind of like singled out when you say he was being kind of mean, and were
Yeah,
you feel
yeah.
like kind of being singled out?
Mhm.
And then so probably not then, but now that you're kind of older enough to understand, do you think that he was singling you out to like kind of gain that control?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So then when he would sing, did she just drop out? Are you still here? I think we lost her. No, no, what happened? We lost her. Um, see if I can remove this. Oh, you're still here. Somebody else dropped out. Okay. Um, so when he would, single you out, and tell us about some of the things that he would do to single you out.
But one of the things that I do was can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that I do remember was during the summer when it was like real hot and stuff. Like I'll take my shower in the morning and everything. He'll like make me go outside and like start like doing yard work and stuff. While like my brothers were playing.
So he would kind of give you extra chores, just you
Yeah.
know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. And then so I have a question. Somebody wants to know, what did your mom do to stop it?
Stop what the what?
Like the him disciplining you.
Mm,
Was it abusive
mentally it was.
mentally? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And was she aware of that as well?
Yeah, she knew.
But she
I mean, there were a lot of times that she was working, but there are like times where she like walk in the house, like sometimes he'll make us stand in the corner and like hold our hands like over our heads for like long periods of time and stuff like that.
okay. All
Yeah.
right. And so how long did that go on?
The holding our hands over our head
The mental abuse,
or the mental
the
abuse.
singling you out, and the mental abuse.
It was basically most of the time.
So pretty much is all the while you were growing up in the home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And so then I remember you mentioning that your mom wouldn't supply you with the things you needed, like necessities that you needed as far as grooming and taking care of yourself as a young lady.
Mm-hmm.
Um, why do you think that was?
I really don't, to be honest. You said it was just like for me, being disobedient and stuff, but I feel like it was more to it, but I can't really say for sure why she did do it.
Because usually when I know when I was younger, I would get things taken, but it was not the things that
Right.
I needed. It was
Mhm.
like, stuff that I probably wanted and
Mm.
probably got for my birthday or Christmas or something like that, but not personals.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so when did that start? How old were you? Were you even old enough to work or
Oh no, I think at around this time I was probably like 13.
okay.
Yeah, I
And
was in.
so then that starts, but then the husband kind of uses that as his own personal way
Hmm.
to get what he wanted.
Yeah.
And so tell us how that started, how that went, how that came about.
It started off by him first offering me some hair gel.
Hmm.
He had asked me to do something, in exchange for the hair gel. And when he did originally first start asking, like I said no so many times, but he just, would keep on going, keep on going, keep on. And
Okay. Okay. So and you don't have to answer this next question if you don't
uh
want to, but
no,
I just have to, I just kind of wonder. So your mom takes things that you need personally, but then the husband is using that to his advantage. Do you think that this is why that she was doing this?
um, to be honest, no, I don't think so. I feel like it was just I'm I'm really not sure, but I don't think it was that.
Okay. Okay. All right. So now that's taking place. He's using things, that to his advantage to get to what he wants. At what
Mm.
point did it go to the limit?
Um, basically, you mean like how the abuse started and stuff like that?
Well, the abuse
Or-
has already
Yeah,
started, but like when he
yeah.
really went,
But the
you
next
know,
level,
yeah.
um, basically he asked if he could, put his private, like rub his private parts on mine, And that's like when it like the first like physical part has started.
Okay. And so he went all the way.
Mhm.
And then you kind of started getting into some trouble, kind of. Well, let's back up. They were kind of saying, like, kind of making it seem like, yeah, you were
Yeah.
the bad child, and there was a altercation. Police was involved, and then you end up going to juvenile.
Mhm.
What happened uh, when that altercation took place?
Um when this happened, when the altercation happened, um like I had said, he would just like beat us for like no reason, like just because, just making up things, but he would do it to me and my brothers, so it doesn't seem, so people don't be like, why are you just whooping her, kind of
So
thing.
it wouldn't look like he was singling you out.
Yeah.
Okay. So I see a lot of comments, you guys. I'm gonna get to your comments and your questions, but I just kind of want to like let her have the floor for
Mhm.
now, and then we'll go into your questions. Okay. And so there was an altercation that took place that day.
Mhm.
And did you call the police or did they call the police?
um he ended up like tying me up somehow, and he had ended up calling the police, and he called my mom because my mom, she was at work, and she came zooming her.
Were you tied up when the police got there?
No.
Okay, so he tied you up, called the police, but then he untied you before they got there.
Yeah, when my mom actually, because my mom got there before the police, and he had untied me then.
Okay, all right. Okay, so then the police get there. What does he tell the police why this altercation, or who's talking to the police, you or him or both, or did they separate you guys and talk to you guys separately? Like,
It
how
was
did that whole
it was separately, and basically, he made it out to be that he was just trying to discipline me, and I just, went crazy on him.
so you kind of like fought him a little bit?
Mhm.
Okay, so that's basically what he was telling the police.
Yeah.
Okay, so then they ask like to speak to your mom? I mean,
To be honest, I'm not even sure if they spoke to my mom because I was outside getting questioned and everybody else was inside. So I'm not really sure exactly what all was said, but I know, like, how they made me look, and that resulted in me going to the
okay,
center.
but you end up going to juvenile that day, right?
Hmm.
Okay, and then how long were you in juvenile?
I believe it was about like 2 weeks because I remember getting out of there on Halloween, I believe, and we ended up handing out candy that day. Like, everything was just good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nothing was ever discussed. Like, did your mom come to see you to talk to you and ask, like, what transpired? Why did this happen? Did she want to hear your side of the story? Did she just take his word?
No. When I was in there, she came and visited me, and she said, "We have a surprise for you whenever you get home, but you gotta, act right, and get out of here and stuff." I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And basically, when I did end up getting home, it was just like the room was like rearranged.
Okay.
Nothing special.
Okay.
My room was rearranged, but at the same time, the room had got messed up during that altercation. So I don't know. I
Oh,
thought,
so them fixing your room up was supposed to be like an apology, or
I'm not really sure what it was supposed to be, an apology, an award. I don't know. They were talking about it like it was an award.
okay. So now you return home,
Mhm.
and are things still the same?
I think after that, things kind of like calmed down just a little bit. until
Okay.
and we moved around a lot when we were up there. So when these first few incidents happened, we were in like a house, and then when the actual, the real physical started, we were in this apartment.
Okay. And so I wanted to ask, when you were at Juvenile, the
Mm-hmm.
Juvenile Detention Center
Mm-hmm.
is kind of like a safe space, sort of say. Did
Um,
you ever think that maybe you could tell somebody and, maybe they can involve like a worker or anything?
um, at that point, no, not really, because nothing too major had really happened yet at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you said it calmed down for a while when you
Mhm.
returned home.
Yes.
When did it kind of like transpire again?
We ended up moving into the apartment, and not long after that, that's when, well, me and my mom, we had to an altercation also, and also that was also what contributed to her, saying that she wasn't gonna like do things for me, stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. Um, and so when did he like actually, start up again? And
Um, Not long after me and my well,
not
actually,
long after you and
no,
your mom
no, what? It was actually before that. It was before.
at the new apartment, at the new place?
Yes.
Okay. And so was she at work on this incident as well?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was.
So, like I know, like the first incident took place when she was at work, but when you wrote her the letter and told her that this took place, was
Hmm.
she ever like skeptical about being at work? If it would ever happen again, even though I know you said that she told you he apologized, he said it was never going to happen again, but was she ever in the back of her mind, do you think that she ever, I mean, like, did she do anything, like maybe even just have somebody else in the family come over to, or I mean, like, were there
Because
any type of steps taken to prevent this from happening?
no, it wasn't. And also, we were away from family. Like we
You
were down
said that.
his for his family, so like we didn't really know anybody there.
Okay.
Hmm.
And so whose idea was it to move down south? Your mom's or his, or
Um, to be honest, I'm not really sure. I feel like maybe it was his, because at first he was visiting that, like back before we moved down there, he was going down there to visit and stuff quite a bit. And then, after one of his last trips, I guess when they decided that we were going to move down that way.
okay. Okay. All right, so your mom's at work,
Hmm.
next incident happens again, and then is this when he like just really just, you know,
Yeah.
okay, and so what actually happened that day?
Which day specifically?
So when you moved into the new apartment, now you're at the new apartment,
Yes.
and it slowed down for a while, but then he tried again.
Mm-hmm.
He started back up trying again.
Yeah.
So is this when he goes, the
Yeah.
limit, or
Mm-hmm.
okay, so what transpired that day?
Um, Basically that's when the hair gel incident happened, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was when he actually went because you needed jail.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
And prior to that, he had been asking, but I was saying no.
Okay. Now, um, you had a really close relationship with your grandma, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did you never could tell her, or did you have any uncles, or
Yeah, I have two uncles.
never told them?
No. Basically a lot of people found out like way later on.
Okay. Um Now let's back up. I want to ask you, was your real father present in your life when you were growing up?
Um, well, he was incarcerated for a part of it, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, but growing up when he, was there, he was a good dad and stuff. He was there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And as of right,
So
he's in my life
go
right now.
Oh, okay.
Like
That's good. So
I have a pretty good relationship with him.
okay. All right.
Mhm.
And so was he out by the time the worst of the worst transpired, or was he still incarcerated?
Um, he had got out right before the worst of the worst started happening because around that time we had just moved to down south when he had just got out of prison. So
Okay, but he wasn't down south, right? He was
no,
Is your dad from Florida as well?
yes, ma'am, he's from Florida. Hmm.
Okay. And so he was in Florida and you guys were down south. And even though you were down south, did your mom, like let you go visit your dad, spend time with your father, or was he able to come and visit you?
Um, I feel like I'm not really sure what was going on with that, to be honest. Um,
Never do.
sorry.
That's okay. We don't know what transpires between,
Yeah, because
we don't.
there was an incident with my father's parents and her and my mom. They kind of got into a little, had a few words, and after that, they kind of
Yeah,
and
caused you. Yeah.
yeah. So basically, I wouldn't say they just cut off communication with me, but they weren't. I can't.
Right. They weren't communicating on an adult level, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So then when he decided to go all the way, when the
Mhm.
hair gel incident took place, how old were you then?
I think I was 13 then.
13. Okay.
Mhm.
And so then after that you go to juvenile, you come back, slows down, but then it starts up. And then how long does it go on before?
I feel like everything all together, maybe like a year.
Okay. And so within this year of all, this is going on, and then
Mhm.
you get pregnant,
Mhm.
and then that's when you finally tell your mom, or how did that come about?
Well, basically, he told her um that I had did something to him while he was sleeping. So basically, this is what I know. This is crazy, but he said that I drugged him, did it to him while he
You
was
drugged her,
yeah, and that's how I
and
and
she believed it.
in the back of her mind, I feel like she had to think, okay, something's not right. But I mean, I guess she had to
Okay.
just based on
So,
her actions and that.
all right. So you're pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
He makes up this cockamanian story. Are
Mm-hmm.
you still living with your mother at this time?
Yeah.
And so, how was that? Like, how was the relationship within the home, like between your mom, him? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you feeling? Like, how are you even dealing with? You know what I mean? I know it had to be hard.
Yeah, it was really hard. It's like I felt like my mom, she hated me. And then like he kind of used that and would be like, kinder to me than she was. So he kind of used that to his advantage.
So I know you also said that he had like a special name for you.
Um, he called me his little lady. I don't know if
Okay.
that's the special name you're referring to.
Yeah,
Uh,
you mentioned that he called you something like his little lady or little queen or
mhm.
something like that.
Yeah.
And okay, so you have your baby,
Mhm.
and then what next? Does anybody find out, outside of the home now, since you've had your baby?
Um, I'm not exactly because everybody kind of like found out like a little bit at different times. I think after a year or two, my grandma had found out that was because he had would harass me over the phone, and she saw the text message one day and she asked me about it, and how that all came.
Now you said he would harass you over the phone. So at this time, were you not living at with your mom
No,
anymore?
not long after I had my daughter, had ended up moving back with my grandma, and my daughter, she was still down south with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
What took place that you ended up going back to your grandmother's? Was
Um,
this something you wanted to do, or
Basically, they were just like, we'll keep her. You need to go live your teenage life, go live a regular life, go live a regular life, basically, and just start over.
okay? And so then at this time, were you told to like never speak? Like I'm quite sure they knew about the baby because you can't carry a baby for 9 months. People not know,
Yeah.
but did your mom and him tell you like to not say who the father of the baby was?
No.
So they never told you not to say who the father was?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
But I
And
was
so
all.
now you go back to live with your grandma.
Mm-hmm.
You're living with your grandma. And he's harassing you. He's calling you and harassing you
Mm-hmm.
about what or why?
Just talk about anything. Just to guess, try to guess, have that hold on me, I guess.
Okay. Okay. So they have your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think they really wanted to keep your daughter?
I mean, I do feel like just to, keep everything under wraps for the most part. And also, my mom, she had me, I was her girl, but I feel, always wanted another girl and stuff like that. So I guess she kind of felt like this is her chance.
So do you think like anything in your mom's mind is like nothing like I'm with this man,
Mm-hmm.
he's impregnating my 13-year-old daughter, here's the baby here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just okay, we'll keep your baby, you go live your teenage life. Like,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, it's kind of hard. I mean, like it's kind of hard to wonder like what was she thinking though, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But
Okay, so then you said that he was harassing you, and then that's pretty much how the grandma found out because she saw a text message
mm-hmm.
from him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So was he making threats in this text message to you?
He was mostly just, like talking inappropriately.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then she asked you about it.
Mm-hmm.
So how did the conversation go between you and your grandmother? And was she like, how was she feeling? Like,
She was really upset.
did she bring it to your mother? Like, did she talk to your mom about it?
Um, I feel like yeah, she did end up talking to that when my daughter ended up coming.
You went out.
Yeah, he did. She did end up saying something to my mom about it, and that's when my daughter ended up coming back, well, coming and staying with me.
Okay. So at this time, does anybody, now your grandma knows, I'm quite sure other family members are finding out. Does anybody go or take you to the police and, report this?
At this time, my grandma, she had asked me what I wanted to do, basically, but she didn't want to like put too much on me at the time. So she just wanted me to just come out with it, whenever I was ready and just kind of go at my own pace because seeing that it was already just like a traumatizing thing that had happened.
Okay. And how old was your daughter at this time when everything comes out? How old is your daughter at this time?
Maybe about 2 or 3.
Okay. So she stayed with them for till the age of 3?
Well, probably about. I'm sorry. The time, like some things are kind of like I don't really remember,
Okay.
and I'm kind of like jumping around.
Okay.
For the age, as far as the age, I'm not 100% sure,
Okay.
but she was still pretty young,
Okay. And
basically.
if you feel like I'm is jumping around, you can say, "Well, let's go back," and we can go back. Okay. So, but okay. So I wanted to ask. Okay, so now you're back with your grandma, and they're still down south, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you feel that safe haven where you can, just kind of like just let her know what all took place during the time that you were living with your mom? So you know.
I felt safe there, but I was still just scared of what was gonna happen and just
Okay.
what was gonna unwrap whenever I do tell.
Okay.
It was just mostly the fear of what was gonna happen next. You
And what was the fear? Like, did he threaten you? Like,
No, it was just basically how people are gonna look at me. You
okay,
know, people think weird sometimes, and just it was just overall embarrassing to me, and I really just wanted to keep it to myself.
okay, okay, all right. Um, okay. So, when did you feel comfortable enough to report it?
It was actually when I was 18 years old. Um,
Oh,
because I had kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, if he does this to me, like only God knows who else he'll do it to you.
hmm. Do you know if he had ever had any of these type of allegations against him, like prior before meeting and marrying your mother, like maybe in another relationship with another woman's kid, or was this, as far as you know, the first
Um,
time?
I can't really think of anything right now that I know of.
Okay. All right. So then you report it,
Mm-hmm.
and then he gets arrested.
Mm-hmm.
So I know when I did read it on Google, it said that he had been charged, and then I tried to go back and try to see if if a trial or anything took place, had he been like actually convicted and sentenced, and I couldn't find anything. So do you, what did any of that ever take place? Did he ever get convicted? Is he still even locked up? um
Yes, I believe he did get convicted. They were like sending me little updates, like my what is it? Not a family advocate, a victim
Victim
advocate.
advocate. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was sending me, little updates of what was going on and stuff, but all of a sudden the updates, they kind of stopped. So I just assumed maybe they did what they needed to do.
Okay. And
But
so then, continue on.
I'm sorry, but she was telling me before about, how many years he could get and stuff like that. And
He
all the,
was.
I'm sorry.
He was, or
No,
the
the
advocate.
advocate. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. All right. And so then, is this when like your mom took to Twitter and you know the
And
things
you
that was being said came about?
and you know what? As far as the Twitter, I'm not even sure if that was really her. It's just I know she's done things, but I couldn't. She just not recently got a Facebook, so I couldn't imagine her, controlling Twitter like that. I feel like that was. I'm still really confused about that one.
Okay. So,
Uh,
um, the Twitter that I saw somebody talking about,
yes.
they showed a photo of her kind of doing some live videos. Did you
hmm
see that? Was that her?
Um, I think I saw the videos you're talking about. I think I saw some clips of them, but yeah,
Hmm.
I believe that was her. Yeah,
Okay. All right. And so you say you're not sure if that was your mom, but there
because
was some pretty some
there
things that was said,
was.
like where she was kind of blaming you and kind of
Mhm.
fought you. How did that make you feel?
It made me feel real bad.
To for your mom to pretty much say that you were jealous of her and you were mad that he made the decision to stick with her, and
Yeah.
just things of this nature when you were the child in the situation
Mhm.
and you didn't consent.
Yeah.
All right, so how is you guys' relationship now?
We don't really. The last time I talked to her, she apologized, but it was kind of like a half apology.
Your mom.
Yeah, it's like she was apologizing for things, but it wasn't the things that needed to be apologized for, basically.
So she really wasn't taking ownership.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Did mhm.
and after that, I mean, I did give her a hug. I did tell her that I love her. So, I mean, I'm kind of at a point now where it's what can you do?
Right.
As a certain way, like what can you really do?
Yeah.
So it's best not even stress about it and just like move on from it. I mean, pray for him, basically.
Right. So, did your mom and your grandma have a good relationship before this, and how did their relationship turn out after this incident?
They've always had a good relationship, and my grandma, she's very like she's mutual. She's not like a hateful person or anything like that. So I mean,
Okay.
at the end of the day, she's like, "What you did was wrong. Like, that wasn't right. Like my daughter, like I still love you." Basically, which I feel like that's how it should be.
Okay. What you did wrong, meaning your mom?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. And your dad and her, was there any ever animosity between your mom and your dad because this took place?
Well, they've never really talked like that.
Okay.
So yeah, they don't really conversate at all.
Okay. And what about other family members? Did anybody ever feel like your mom didn't protect you?
Um, yeah, especially after Paris Milan video had came out, all of my cousins and stuff, they were hitting me up. They were saying, so sorry this happened. And, they were saying they can't believe she was.
Okay. All right. And you got siblings, right? You
Mm-hmm.
got brothers. How many brothers do you have?
Um, I have three brothers from my mom.
Three brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you guys have the same dad, or were these your mom's husband's sons, or
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
all three of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so, how old are they? Because they were young when this was happening, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And how old are they now?
Um, my brother that's under me, he's 2 years younger than me, so he's 20. My next brother, he is, I believe, 18, 17 or 18. And then my next brother, I believe he is 16 or 17. Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How was your relationship like with since this happened and that's their father?
Mm-hmm.
How was you guys' relationship? How did they feel towards you after all of finding out all of this?
At first, when it first came out, I know they were pretty hurt about it. Basically, we did kind of have our ups and downs for a minute, but then we just kind of came to a place of understanding, basically.
Okay. Okay. All
Because
right.
at first they were understanding, but back then when they did kind of find out, they were still younger, but now they've kind of matured a little bit, and they kind of understand.
Okay. So you guys have talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And so you don't know if he's gonna be convicted.
I feel like he already has, and I had been meaning to call my advocate back and see what was going on with that, but I just
Okay.
really, I kind of have a feeling, what happened next.
Yeah, because I know the last thing I read, it was gonna go to trial.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went back to pull it up again to see, if it had gone to trial, had he been convicted, there's nothing there. It's just still about when he was charged and what
Yeah.
his bail amount was. And then it also shows that your mother, she's either divorcing him or has it. I couldn't really click on it
Yeah,
but
I
it
saw
did
that.
say that she filed for divorce. And so did she follow through with that or
I'm really not even sure, to be honest,
okay.
because I think somebody had posted the document of the divorce paper, I believe, but I'm not sure how accurate that was.
Okay. Yeah, well, I did see it's on it. You can pull it up on Google. It does show that she filed, that she summoned for divorce. I
Oh,
just don't know,
if
if
she
it
went,
went all the way.
okay.
Yeah, if she went through with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, do you think that was due to this incident or just something else? Her own personal reasons.
I was wondering about that too. I don't know because she was in the public eye now, or what was her reasoning behind that. But when I did hear that, I really wasn't expecting that. I really thought she was gonna ride out with him.
Okay. Okay. And so, have you, had any counseling, or anything to help you with the trauma?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Are you still like in counseling or
Yeah, I talked to a therapist, but I haven't been in a little while because I'm sorry.
I didn't say anything. I was
Oh,
no, you
um,
said you talked to one.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I haven't been in a little while because it's kind of hard with my work schedule and everything, schedule with her. But yes, I was getting therapy though.
Okay.
Mhm.
And this next question, it might be a hard question, so you don't have to
Mhm.
answer if you don't want to.
Oh,
But
okay.
when you gave birth to your baby girl, did you at any point in time have any like, you know, any like hard feelings towards her? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because of the way she was conceived.
No, I never did.
Okay.
Like, it was nothing but love. As soon as I heard her heartbeat, like I couldn't something that I carried for 9 months, like I couldn't hate her, just have negative feeling towards her.
Okay. All right. All right. So,
Like part of
are
the
you?
reason,
Hmm.
sorry, she's part of the reason, why I've kept on going so far, why I really am continuing to push.
Okay.
And
And
if
how many?
I'm sorry.
No. Okay. No, I'm sorry. You continue on.
And if I had went through all that, and just didn't have anything in the end, that like I'm sorry to say, like I don't know if I would be here right now. So yeah, but she truly has been a blessing to me.
Okay. And how many kids do you have now?
I have two.
Okay. And how old are they?
My son, he is 19 months old, and Alicia,
Okay. All right. Does your mom have a relationship with either one of your kids?
no, not really.
Is that something that you would be nervous to do? Is to allow your mom to have a relationship with your kids because of um, what you went through when you were growing up in the home, and maybe she didn't protect you the way she should have?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So I have some questions. Most of these I kind of think you might have already answered, but here's a question. Are you
Okay.
able to are you able to see them if I highlight them?
Um. Okay. Yeah, I see.
Okay. So that's her question. Um,
Um. She didn't really do to stop it. At the same time, I think she was kind of like in disbelief, like she didn't want to believe it.
mhm.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of these questions. Did he go to jail? That's already been answered. So when you got home, did your mom acknowledge what had happened, and did she kick him out? He left on his own, right, for the 2 weeks. I think she might be asking. I don't know if she's asking about the first incident, but I do know, like, well, the second incident you said she confronted him. They kind of had some words, and he left. So did he leave on his own, or did she ask him to leave?
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure, to be honest. I just know that he ended up leaving for a little
Okay.
bit.
And then when he apologized, well, when she said that he was saying that he was sorry, did he tell her this before coming back into the home? And was this only said to her? Like, he never, like, you, him, and her never sat down and just discussed this incident?
I don't think we did. We never sat down and like really had a conversation about it. But I think he did
Okay.
say, I think he did say he was sorry one time, something like that.
Okay. So here's another question. She says, so why did your mom stay with him as long as she knew what was going on? And that's kind of
To be honest, I feel like he kind of had a mind control thing over her because he had been with her since she was a young girl.
okay.
So I feel like he was kind of like all she knew. I guess she felt like, this is what love is. She
Mm-hmm.
had to experience like other people and everything to, really,
Okay. crown, where queens come to. So after the first incident took place, did you tell? She wants to know, did you tell your mom, and how long did this sexual abuse last?
When the first incident took place, um, I'm not sure which first incident, the 8-year-old incident is that referring to, or when we were
Probably.
okay.
Um. Well, wait. The question was. Let me see. After the first incident took place, did you tell your mom? And you said no, you didn't tell her till the second incident, and that's when you wrote the note, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then she asked, how long after then did it take place?
Probably for at least like a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, some of these questions has like, so how long did your mom stay with him knowing what he did? She pretty much stayed with him
Yeah.
till all the way up until he was arrested, correct?
Yes, that's right.
And he was arrested based off of DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was that the DNA basically confirming that your baby girl was his?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay. All right. And so then Crown, she wants to know, oh, she says that's terrible. So she lives with him and the mom while she was pregnant. Did the mom know it was his baby? How long? Yeah. So how long did this story that he gave her go on before she actually really found out that he was indeed the father of your child?
Maybe it wasn't too long. Maybe when I was like 3 or 4 months pregnant.
Okay. And then how did it come out? Like,
Well,
you know,
basically that's when he told the story about me.
oh, so okay. So when you were pregnant, or when you first found out you were pregnant, that's not when he made up the whole you drug.
No,
So
no,
then what did you, so she just thought that you just met, did you have a boyfriend? I
no.
never.
Oh, I did have a boyfriend, but around this time I did not have a boyfriend. But I had had a boyfriend, prior to that.
Okay. And so then did she think that just thought, or what did you tell her? Because I mean, if you come home pregnant at 13, mom, like, who is the father? You know what I'm saying? What did you tell her?
I just told her it was some guy,
Just some guy?
and actually that is what he had told me to tell her in the beginning. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
No, you didn't. So, like, you didn't have to make up a name. Like,
I did make up a name. I just said some random name, and I can't even remember what it was, to be honest.
did she ever want to know, like, talk to this guy, meet this guy, talk to you guys? Like, okay, she's pregnant. She says you're the father. How do you guys plan to deal with this?
I think she said something about it one time, or
Huh?
maybe, I think she said something about it one time, but I just kept saying like I don't know, like that it was just some person
Okay.
that I met, like walking home like from school. So
Did you and your mom ever talk, like, about just things like, you know, personal things, like, are you dating now? Are you interested in dating? Anything about your friends, like anything, just like as a mother wanting to know, okay, what's going on with my daughter or anything like that?
no, not really, but I feel like it's because she didn't really know how.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we never, like had a close relationship like that as far as talking and everything.
When she wanted you to come back and live with her, why was it, I mean,
She had said that, she just wanted to raise me like she was supposed to do.
but she was out of the home a lot because she worked a lot though, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't work.
No.
Was there a reason why? Like, was he like hurt back something?
Um, I don't know. For some reason he did get a check, so he just didn't work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now she finds out you're about 3 or 4 months pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
She finds out that he is indeed the father, and he
Yeah.
was the one who told her, or you were the one who told her.
To be honest, I don't remember how that came out. To be honest.
Okay, and so then once it comes out, what
Mm-hmm.
happens? Does she like confront him? Do you guys talk about it? Is like it's like I don't understand. Like she not react to anything? Like
But she's also been like most of my life. She's just been very emotionalist. Like I'm not sure she had like some personality or mood disorder or something like that for why she was like that. But she's always just been very like never really had too much emotion.
okay,
So
so she okay. So now this comes out, and y'all just deal with it. Like it's not you just deal with it.
basically, and just keeping it amongst ourselves.
And is that something you discussed that this is what you were gonna do? Like, okay, we're not gonna say nothing to nobody. We're just gonna keep this in the household. We'll just let everybody think that you went off and got pregnant by some boy, and just that.
Yeah, basically.
All right, and so and you and how are you feeling about that? Like, what is going through your mind? Like,
Just so much confusion.
okay,
Like just so much confusion. Like in my young 13-year-old mind, I just didn't know what to think.
right. So you have the baby now. Was she and him there when you gave birth?
Um, he was in there and my mom was in there too.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Okay, and so you have the baby. How long did you live at home with your mom and him before you left to go live with your grandmother?
Um, I left when my daughter was, I think, about 3 or 4.
About 3 or 4 months.
Hmm.
All right. And they just came to you with this decision like, go be a teenager. We'll keep the baby.
And they didn't really like push it on me, but they had brought it up to me. And, in that moment, I thought, okay, this is a good idea because like I really didn't want to out,
You
like I
said you really didn't want to what?
think about the past year.
Okay. So you wanted some time to think to yourself.
Um, Basically, when they came to me with to start my life over and just moving like everything's normal and everything, I like the idea of it.
Okay.
Basically.
Did you ever stop and think? So okay, when they brought this to you and you took the opportunity, were you thinking long term or short term?
In my
How did
head,
they bring it to you? Did they bring it to you long term, like where we'll raise her and you
ba-
go on and just start your life all over?
mhm.
So at any time did you stop to think that, well, what he did to me, could he possibly do this to my child?
To be honest, in that moment, I wasn't even thinking like that until like she kind of started getting bigger. Like,
Okay. Oh, okay.
you know,
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So I have somebody is asking, did you have feelings for him?
no,
Okay. And then Crown says she's praying for you. You're a strong lady.
thank you.
Here's another one. She says, I know how family can be towards other people in their family. how did his family feeling once they found out what he did and the baby being his? uh Family members like to cover up that type of abuse.
Mhm.
Did Was that kind of like how, like, okay, so during these years that you guys moved down south and it's just his family, you guys have no family, so did
Mhm.
you guys spend a lot of time around his family?
No, we really didn't, to be honest. Maybe like when we first moved down there, like we had went through to like a few like fish fries and stuff like that. But other than that, we weren't really around them all that
Oh,
much.
okay.
I
So
mean,
was there ever any confusion after all of this, comes out, like any ill feelings towards you? Was there any, sometimes people like to lay blame.
mhm.
So was there any of this ever?
None that I heard anybody say. Most
Okay.
of them were saying, like, yeah, he was wrong for that, but like, we still love him or whatever, and like we still love you too.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. So, what advice would you have for a young lady or young lady who may have or may go through the same type of abuse that you went through?
don't be afraid to tell, speak up. Don't be scared of what's gonna happen, because if you don't tell somebody, something worse is probably gonna happen in the long run. So just please don't be afraid to open your mouth. And if you tell somebody that acts like they don't care or don't believe you, try to go tell somebody else. Tell a teacher. Tell somebody with some kind of authority. And I know that they will be able to help you. Like, I know it's scary and it's embarrassing, and that's something that you really don't want anybody to know about. You really don't want to talk about it, but you got to let somebody know so that you can get some help.
And then I just have one last question. Will you or do you ever plan to tell your daughter how she, was conceived?
I feel like, I mean, it's eventually have to happen. That's something I really can't keep from her for her whole life. I mean, if it doesn't come out from me telling her, it's going to come out some other way. I'd rather it be me saying it than somebody else or her finding it out on social media or something like that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, she wants to know, have or are you in counseling? And
Mm-hmm.
you said you started counseling, but right now you're not in counseling because due to work hours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you do?
I'm a CNA at a psychiatric hospital.
Okay. All right. And
Yeah.
how long have you been a CNA? How long does it take to become a CNA?
Well, the class I took was about a month, but I went through I did a little program where they pay for your class and you work for the facility for a little bit type of situation, and they pay
Okay.
for my tests and everything. So, and I've had my CNA license since I believe May.
Okay. Okay. All
Mhm.
right. Well, I thank you for sharing your story and
Mhm.
being open and being able to answer the viewers' questions. And you're very strong. And, I hope you continue on, and stay blessed. And thank you for bringing awareness
Mhm.
to your situation. All right.
Thank you
So,
so much for having me. And to be honest, I was so nervous, and I know I was probably jumping around and probably not making sense. But y'all gotta bear with me. This is the first time ever doing something like this, but I really do appreciate the opportunity.
all right.
Mhm.
And thank you guys who all tuned in and jumped in the comments and, sending the hearts and everything, the muscles up for Montiana. You guys all have a good night, and you have a good night and stay blessed.
Thank you. Have a good night.
See you later.